Give me a W, give me a E, give me a P, give me a O, give me a D, give me a C, give me an A, give me an S, give me a T. What does that spell? We podcast!
Yay!
Welcome everybody. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the West East podcast. Guru, are you ready to have a ladies chat today?
Definitely. I'm ready to spill the tea.
Spill the tea. That's right. This week, folks, I'm calling this a ladies chat. If you don't know what that means, I guess it's kind of a colloquial way. We're not going to gossip, but I'll explain why I'm calling this a ladies chat. Today we're going to talk about the Super Bowl, but not football. I'm sorry, fellas. I'm not well educated enough to tell you about the game of American football or get into the debate about if football means American football or means European football, which is soccer, or called soccer in North America. What I want to talk about is the halftime show. Guru, you watched your first halftime show recently.
Yes.
I think it's over 115 million, I think now, the most recent Super Bowl halftime. So we watched it on YouTube. But I'll explain why I'm calling it a ladies chat really quickly. So growing up, I played some sports. I played hockey. I played baseball myself. But I always knew about the Super Bowl because it's very popular in North America to have a Super Bowl party. The Super Bowl is the championship game of the National Football League, I think it is, the NFL. Yeah. And we're going to kind of get into the history, I guess. But ever since 1967, in the middle of the game, when there's the halftime show, there's always a performance. And so people have Super Bowl parties. They make predictions about the game. You don't have to be a football fan to watch and love Super Bowl. And you become a football fan when you watch it. But some people just tune in for the halftime show. Specifically, what I remembered growing up, that was when the moms got really excited. So the dads were excited during the game. The moms were chatting and, serving the snacks and whatever. And then when the halftime show came on, that's when the ladies cleared the men from the TV set so we could watch whoever perform. So that's why I'm calling it a ladies chat today, because I think if we talk about sports, we might get called out a lot. Not to say ladies can't talk about sports, but I'm assuming you're probably in the same boat as me about American football. But certainly the halftime show is an opportunity to sort of mix art and sports. And that's where, I feel like a lot of the ladies will relate to the Super Bowl. So let me start this way. Before we showed you this halftime show, had you ever heard about, I don't know, our football league or...
So I was aware about the NFL league. I was not following it or any, but I knew that there's something exists, but I was never aware about this halftime Super Bowl performances and all that.
And we looked it up in terms of I was trying to say, when we were planning the episode, folks, I was saying to Dr.Art, what would be the India equivalent? If you guys don't have football like they do in America, right? Do you guys have? I don't even know if there's a league, but I know cricket is big in India.
Cricket is big in India. So as a kid, even I used to play a lot of sports like kabaddi, cricket, and etc. etc. I was very much into sports, but as I grew up, I was not not have been following up.
Yeah.
My father is a big fan, so
Yes.
Whatever I need to know, I can just ask him.
It's true. It's true. If you want to know the score of the cricket game, you just ask Dad, and he'll tell you.
So that was it for me. It's a contrary thing. As a child, I was a player, and as I grew up, it just fell apart.
Yeah.
So when I saw this, I looked into it and I tried to search. So what I got to know or what I got to learn is it's not the same, but they have at the beginning of the IPL is a very Indian Premier League.
Yeah.
Is one of the very popular cricket thing which they play.
Yeah.
So there they starting ceremony or introduction ceremony, they have this kind of performances of singers and all different actresses and all. They cheerleading performance and all. They have, but I am not following it, so I don't know when it is halftime or not.
Yeah.
I have no idea about it. But people are as enthusiastic as In
in the
this,
Super
I
Bowl.
feel that way.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
one who are actually going for the cricket,
yeah.
they are very excited about this things too.
And I that is the impression that I got when we chatted, that that would be the closest thing,
Yeah.
right? So it also makes sense if anybody knows about the game of cricket. There's no real, I don't know, there's no real opportunity to have like a halftime. Like it's not the same
Yeah,
structure.
it's the only
Mhm.
time you can have half time is once there are the 20 overs are over and the other team is coming for
Yes.
like batting instead of ball, like the change of the
Yeah. Yeah.
games.
Exactly. The
Yeah,
changing of the field, so
yeah.
whoever was defense is playing
But I
offense
don't
and vice
think they
versa.
have that much half time or something. Maybe half time. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well,
I
again,
cannot accurately say because I'm not following.
that's okay. Today we're talking about the performances, so we're allowed to not be experts about the sports. That's the permission I'm giving us, and I think our viewers will forgive us for that. But so okay, so let's talk about the Super Bowl halftime, because I didn't know the history from like I said, from young. Like when I was young, we were going to like Super Bowl parties, family friend's house. One of my family members actually has a birthday around the Super Bowl, so sometimes we were just going to celebrate my family member's birthday, and we would call it
So
a Super Bowl party at the same time.
so is it
Mhm.
like the same time of the year or something?
Yeah.
Like
So
February or something, right?
exactly. So the finals for football, it's an elimination situation, and
Uh
it
huh.
goes on for quite some time. It's the same way in like most professional sports, but in February, it usually falls in the first weekend of February is when the Super Bowl will be.
Oh.
Now, what I do know about the Super Bowl is they choose the location before they know who the teams are. So sometimes you're playing in, like this year it was New Orleans, but I don't think New Orleans was even playing in the game. Like they didn't make it to the final. So it doesn't
Okay.
matter.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
understand. So
So
people can plan accordingly to the tickets and to visit
this,
and
yeah, and
understand. Yeah.
it's a big money maker. And so then here's where I think the halftime show is brilliant. So in like 1967, like I said, was the first halftime show. It didn't start off with like big bands and pop bands. It actually started off with marching bands. I think it was like different colleges,
Yeah.
and but it was just to give people a change of pace and sort of like a palate cleanser, I guess, between the halftime. The athletes are off their whatever, touching up the field, whatever they do during halftime, and they wanted to just not have a lull for the fans because it's such a high energy event. So they had marching bands, and then the first singer, I believe that when I looked it up, was Carol Channing. She showed up twice, like one year and then a few years later, and the second time she sang with Ella Fitzgerald, who's like a very famous American singer. Um, so that was around like the 60s. When we start to get into the 70s, that's when we start to see like pop groups come in. And so there's this group called Up With People, and in the 1970s they had the first halftime performance. They had full concert sound. It was set up in under 4 minutes, which is a requirement, because there's a time constraint. It's
Mm-hmm.
not like in a regular concert, right? And this
Yeah,
is
they
what.
play in the middle of the ground only.
Yes, and if you go through like Super Bowl performances, especially the closer you get to the most recent one, and we will talk about the Kendrick Lamar performance because it was just amazing on so many levels. But these sets become more and more elaborate. So you have to keep in mind they don't have a lot of time to set this stuff up at all, and it's really like a feat to watch. Like it's an accomplishment in itself to see them set
Yeah.
it up and to know that they have like a short amount of time to do it. So, but the reason why I'm bringing up with people, there's an article that I read that talked about how they sort of introduced like bands. So
Mm-hmm.
we went from marching bands you're used to seeing. So
Mm-hmm.
at football, it's very common to see cheerleaders and to see like a marching band type scenario. Now we switch to like pop music, and we start to get this cultural influence into the NFL. So it's not just sports, like sports and arts are separate, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now they're getting closer and closer together, and like we're mixing them in the same, in my opinion, it's the same kind of beauty that exists when you like watch a dance or a figure skating performance. You're watching art, but they're athletic as well. So here it's not that the athletes aren't also the artists necessarily, but you're seeing that
Yeah.
mix, right? So in the 90s, we have Queen Latifah, and then Michael Jackson, who was famous in India as well.
Yeah.
Uh,
So what I like after we
mhm.
discussed, I saw this, and when we
Yes.
decided, I did some reading about it.
Yeah.
So I think in 1993, Pasadena, California he was performing, and that from he made it like a big thing,
Yes, he broke all the records. He
And
broke
the way
all the
he's
records.
emerged, I saw the
Mhm.
video also, like after.
Yeah.
So the way he, like he from the screen, he emerged on the top of the, like
Yes.
ledge,
The
and
dome. Yeah.
that was at that time showing that in this like
Yeah.
live thing, or maybe in the public, this many public was a big thing,
It
for
was.
me, yeah.
Oh yeah, it would have been a big risk. And in the '90s, like the yeah, folks remember this was before like we really had the internet like on a big scale. So it's not like we could watch like a
And we are
million YouTube
lucky that
videos.
someone had recorded that, and we can see it right
This
now,
exactly exactly the official recording. But MJ is an interesting connection as well because I think Kendrick Lamar did break his record in terms of how many people like tuned in to view the performance, and that's monumental. That's like what, a 23-year record just about that this guy breaks. And the genius of Kendrick Lamar's performance, there's so many levels, was really, it wasn't like simplistic. It took a lot of time, I'm sure, and planning to set up that set, but it looks so simple. Like it didn't, you could tell it was a lot of work, and yet the set didn't, just nothing distracted from the
it felt like
performance.
flawless.
Yes, it was all about the performance, which I just loved so, so, so much because the message in Kendrick Lamar's music is that deep that if you're too distracted by the set, you might actually, you're already going to miss the performance. You have to like watch it a few times to really catch the bars. If the
And for
set,
me, even
yeah.
I was seeing him for the first time,
Mhm.
the beats and everything, but Samuel L. Jackson was also there, so
Yes,
that caught my eye.
yes, as Uncle Sam.
Yep.
So the figure of Uncle Sam is, I mean, I don't want to talk about like American history or anything, but it's ironic to me that it's like Sam Jackson is playing Uncle Sam, and then when you factor in his role in Django and all of the layering of the narratives of Kendrick's performance, it's like he was the perfect person to
Mm.
play this role. Also, he has that notoriety, and he's very, very likable. But so, okay, so after Michael Jackson, now we sort of see this shift. So now we have the pop king. I think in the '90s was Queen Latifah as well, right?
1998.
1998, Queen Latifah.
That was the first hip hop, if you
Yes,
can
the
say.
injection of hip hop
Yeah, it
into
was
the.
not like as
Mhm.
big as Michael Jackson, I think.
Yeah.
But what I read is that was the first hip hop group that performed.
Yes.
She
Yeah.
was part of many performers.
I
One of the
can't.
performances was
I
that.
can't remember who else, but I remember that like
Yeah.
we said okay, yeah, Queen Latifah was there in '98, and I love Queen Latifah, so I
Yeah.
forgot everyone else's name. I'm so sorry if you performed in that Super Bowl, but Latifah. Then in so the next like so I guess I'm gonna call it a milestone, but I don't want to touch on this for too long. In 2005, Michael's sister Janet Jackson performed with
Okay.
Justin Timberlake. And I'm assuming if halftime and Super Bowl doesn't make the news in India, you wouldn't know, but there was a huge controversy here. Controversy. It was actually like a. I felt really bad for what happened at the end of their performance. She kind of like got a bit of her costume torn off accidentally, and a
Hmm.
bit of her was exposed that shouldn't have been. And you can tell if you ever see the clip, like the way that she looks up at Justin, because he's the one that accidentally ripped her costume off. He looks at her and she looks at him, and then they both try to just like cover her up. So you could tell it wasn't on purpose. I don't think it was on purpose, but the only reason I'm bringing it up is, again, I said, who watches the Super Bowl halftime show? It's all the moms, right? So all the moms, and they know that their kids are watching with them, and we're seeing these pop stars, we're seeing this evolution through time, and then all of a sudden now we have a wardrobe malfunction, and we have a way more than PG-13 situation on our hands. And poor Janet Jackson was just trying to put on, and she put on an amazing show. She killed it, the whole performance. So the reason why that's important is that's the second, I guess, pivot in the performances. If you actually follow the timeline of all the performances after that happened, the NFL, like, I guess, reflected on what does this mean, and they shifted to a more like family friendly approach. So we see a lot of like country bands, and you see like more like pop groups coming in, and then in 2007 Prince performs. Is Prince popular in India at all?
Not that much, but few of the people who likes to listen to
To,
English songs,
yes,
like selective people, might listen to him.
he's a very, very famous singer in North America. So that's why I'm asking. Like, I figured I was like, I feel like that would creep his music would
And
creep into.
honestly speaking, my opinion will not be that, because I'm was introduced. I used to see a movies I
Yeah.
like since childhood, but music I was not like catching up to that. I started listening to like very regularly after 2016 or so.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So
You ask me about shows, you ask me about movies, I'll be
yeah,
telling you since 50s, 60s and all. But music I was not following it.
and that's fair. So I mean, I'll definitely. So okay. So I promise you, viewers, that I will show Prince to to Dr. Art, because his music is really iconic. Him and Michael Jackson are sort of pitted against each other, like
Hmm.
in pop culture. But the reason why that's significant is his music is colorful. Like his themes are a bit mature sometimes. So it was kind of like a sign of like, okay, so we did the family friendly thing for a couple years, and now 2007 we got Prince. Then 2011 we have Black Eyed Peas performing.
And I think
Um,
then Jennifer Lopez and
yeah, so they came a little bit.
Beyonce and all those.
Yes. So J Lo and Shakira perform in 2020. Now I don't know if J Lo performed more than once, but I remember for sure in 2020, and that was significant because that's when Jay Z took over. So Jay Z is he's an MC, he's a business mogul, and many things. He very successful man. So he is in charge now with his company since 2020 of the Super Bowl halftime. So I don't know if you could tell, I was kind of focusing a bit on like I was focusing on pop, but hip hop is what I was thinking, trying to highlight throughout. And thank God for Jay Z in so on so many levels, but on this level too, because there's more and more hip hop now in the NFL. For me, that's super significant because hip hop has always been really influential in pop culture, but no, I don't think they've gotten the credit that they deserve. So to see hip hop be put on that world stage, NFL is the Super Bowl is probably the most popular. I would say
Hmm.
the most popular sporting final ever. I'm
Yeah.
so sorry, Canada, because I know hockey's huge here, but really it makes so much money for the states, and so to give that chance, it's incredible. So we, sorry,
And after this Kendrick Lamar
Mhm.
performance,
Yeah,
she showed me another one which had Eminem, Dr. Dre,
yes,
and Snoop
yeah,
Dogg,
Dr. Dre,
and
Eminem, Snoop Dogg, Mary J.
50 Cent,
Blige, 50 Cent, and Kendrick
Kendrick
Lamar.
Lamar.
So that's the first time Kendrick
Yeah.
Lamar performed. So
So
that one happened
2020,
earlier.
22, I think.
22. You
Yeah,
got it.
and I loved that
Yes.
performance.
So the year before it, I haven't shown you this one yet.
Still, this 2025 is my favorite, but that would be my second favorite.
Oh, hey, absolutely. And before,
Like
uh,
I'm not a big hip hop fan, but
mhm.
when I saw that performance, I think I should look into it more.
Oh, and I think that's a good performance to see, and because
The way they orchestrated whole,
there's some
the choreographed, you
OGs.
can say.
Absolutely. And Dr. Dre is foundational to hip hop's history, as is Snoop Dogg, as is Mary J. Blige, in my opinion. I mean, pretty much everyone on that stage. They come in at different times, but
Hmm.
you could argue Eminem is, well, he's a guest in the culture, but he's absolutely a force, and he's
Hmm.
definitely an influence. And the reason why I
I think we can say he's a humble soul also.
oh, definitely. The beauty. There's so many beautiful things about Eminem, but a really great thing that I like, what I love about Eminem is how much respect he
Yeah,
shows
he shows
to
to
the
everyone.
culture.
It's like I'm not the star, we
This,
all are,
if
kind of
you
that.
this, he's always wearing a shirt that reps one of the hip hop groups he likes, and his list is many. And actually, when he was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, he took the bulk of time of his speech was just him saying, okay, if you like me, then you got to go listen to all these people. And he listed them in alphabetical order. And it was like pages and
Oh,
pages.
I didn't know about this.
It was a hip hop history lesson.
Very nice.
Beautiful. He talked about everybody from Apache and Poor Righteous Teachers to Slick Rick to Redman to like just so I'm forgetting so many already. He mentioned Fushnikins, which not a lot of people know about, but when you hear Eminem rap fast and then you go listen to Fushnikins, you understand why.
Why?
Jada Kiss, he shouted out. He covers all corners.
Yeah.
Like, so anyways, this episode's not about Eminem, but obviously it could
Yeah.
be.
So one thing which I like one thing which I learned up from him is like if you want to get respect or if you want to be somewhere that level, don't drag people, just respect
Yes.
and give everyone like deserved credit. Then you can
this.
like automatically there.
This. And so, okay, so this is a perfect transition then into Kendrick Lamar. I'll just give a couple of shout outs first. In 2021 was The Weeknd. He's Canadian, so I have to give him a shout
Maroon 5
out.
was also there, right?
Maroon 5 was before. Maroon
Okay.
5 was like previous to 2020 to, I think they were like 2017
I just
or something.
had a glance, so I don't remember the years.
Yeah. But I want to give a special shout out to The Weeknd, because if you haven't seen his performance, go and Google the 2021 Super Bowl. He was actually took the opposite approach of Kendrick. His set looks very elaborate, but the camera work was something special, the same as Kendrick's performance. So it's one worth watching. Also, if you're not like a, I don't know, a rapidy rap kind of person, it's not your thing. The Weeknd is a really good bridge from pop to hip hop, because he has that R&B sound. Yeah, it was very, very good. And he's from Scarborough, so I have to rep a local artist who is very talented too. So then 2022 is Dr. Dre, like you said, with all the OGs, Snoop, Mary J. Blige, 50, Kendrick Lamar's first performance, Eminem. 2023 was Rihanna. So before she was performing at Ambani's wedding, she was performing at the Super Bowl. And then in 2024, we have Usher, who was referenced on a Kendrick song recently and is like very, very popular in North America. But let's do the bridge to Kendrick Lamar's performance. We were talking about Eminem previously and how he pays homage and respects the culture, respects hip hop. Kendrick Lamar did the exact same thing, in my opinion, in a different way, in his way, in a unique way. There's so many things I want to say about this performance, but the thing that I'll start with is I was surprised by how many people said they didn't like it, because I said, oh, you just didn't get it. You just did not understand what this man was doing. If you want to really understand what happened in the 2025 Super Bowl and why he performed some of the songs and why he told the story in a way, you have to also understand why GNX, which is the album that he sings the most of, was put out, and why he felt the need to put certain songs in there. You have to just go look up the beef. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna.
It's better to keep it.
I'm gonna be Pontius Pilate here and wash my hands of that. Like, I'm not gonna get involved in talking about that, because there's so much to say. But even the beef
apart, even if you don't know the beef, the performance was very, like, I didn't know about it.
Yes.
Until then I saw this thing. But it was like amazing.
Well, and so living in Toronto, it's unavoidable to think to it got talked about so much, but you're right. Notwithstanding, if you don't know about it, it was still, there was so much symbolism. The costumes, the red, white, and blue,
the way they have choreographed, and the way they have switched the place, the way they have done the camera work. Like they are somewhere they are in line, somewhere they are in circle, and everything. I love that.
And I liked the sort of throwback. I don't know if this was on purpose, but there's those moments when he talks to the four ladies and he's asking them, like, I want to do this song. What do you think? It reminded me very much of like Greek theater with the I think they were called the Muses. Like, if you've ever seen the Hercules, the Disney Hercules, you know, the ladies that tell that are the narrators. He appeals to them in the same way. Like, that's what it reminded me of. But also in the symbolism, I don't know if you saw, the set is kind of like a street. It's also like a video game
like
controller.
A night lamp, and I understand the way he was showing it. So like the streets, and there are people sitting, and
but if you notice, because SZA was also performed, so a lot of times in the Super Bowl, you'll see a lot of features. Oh, this artist pops out, this artist pops out. Kendrick did none of that. Kendrick was him, his dancers, and SZA.
Yep.
And him and SZA are actually touring this summer. I think they're probably already on tour.
Okay.
But she's featured on his newest album. They've collaborated before. They came from the same record label. Shout out to Top Dog, TDE. And I think SZA's still signed to them. And Kendrick's on his own now with PG Lang. So what was cool too was his company, PG Lang, was the one that put the performance on. So he's really stepping out as a businessman, and fully realized image. But the one thing I was just gonna say is that there's all these symbols throughout. But if you pay attention, when him and all the ladies are walking from the square stage to the triangle stage,
S was forming, and
not just an S. It was an S,
first S,
and then
Z.
A Z. Yes, and her name is
that.
SZA, and then the triangle is almost like an upside down
A,
which is also, we just watched.
I think Shiv showed me or something. I think because I was not aware about it, and so when I saw it for the first time, I just saw it for the scene. Then he was seeing again, and that time I think he showed me that this is Or maybe
this.
you, I don't remember
It
who.
could have been either
Yeah.
or both of us, because I think between the two of us, like probably, I would say we've contributed at least double digits. I don't know if we're into triple digits. Like, I don't want to lie, but we've watched it so many times because it's so enjoyable. You can also listen to it on Spotify. I'm just saying, everybody should go out and support it. But the other part that I want to talk about that I really liked is when you look at the progression. So first, everybody comes out of the car, right, and like and that's an unreleased song, by the way. I don't know, at the beginning when it's just him a cappella, we still don't know what that is, and he's been doing that to us for the last like 2 years, where he's teased songs and then later he releases the full one. But so they're sort of like tough guy. He does squabble up. He does humble. And then he does DNA as he's going across the street, going along the street. But then I don't know what the song is where he goes a cappella again. I deserve it all. It's before he does Peekaboo. But what I liked about it was, if you follow the performance from that on, you see boys, right? They're all like under the street light and they're all happy and peppy, and he's just rapping to the camera. And Sam Jackson is keeping score as Uncle Sam, so I guess that's us as the viewers, or that's the establishment, or it's what Kendrick Lamar is a Pulitzer Prize, so that's like something that they only give to novelists and poets usually, and he is a poet. I'm not saying he's not, but hip hop MCs have also never been really realized as actual poets, which a lot of them are. If you read their lyrics, they stand alone as poems.
Yeah.
I used to study some
So
hip hop.
when someone used to tell me hip hop, it used to think that only people are lyricking and they're battling and all that. I never knew, like, I was ignorant, I can say, and I never get into the nitty gritty of it. But when I learned about it, and I think they are real artists.
Yeah.
It's a very good way of showing respect, and I never knew about that.
Yeah.
Like, once I more digged into it, I know that it's about family, it's about neighborhood, it's about like giving respect to each other.
It's very similar to Hindu culture, if you ask me. Like, there's a lot of connections. But the song I was thinking about is called Men at the Garden, by the way. But so he's so they're rapping as like they look like little kids, and then Sam Jackson comes in and he accuses them of playing the culture card, because that's very much that whole scene with the street light, and everyone's wearing the grills, and they look like braggadocious a little bit, but to me they look boyish, like they're like so peppy. And then right after that they go into the X, and they got their bandanas on, they're all wearing one color. It's not like blue and red, which are gang colors, by the way.
I didn't know about that.
There's two opposing gangs, and I'll tell you why that's significant in a moment. But what I really liked was the transition from their boys to now they're being sought after to being gangs, being initiated. That's what it looks like. I don't know if that's intentional, but then that song is Peekaboo, and that's like a tough song. You can see how their dancing is like, it looks like they're being egged on to violence or to confrontation or to something. They're still celebrating, but there's more aggression in that moment. Now, why is red and blue significant? Well, so one is blood and one is Crip. And they are gangs. We could do like a whole series on the history of these gangs and the warring with each other. I'm not an expert enough to speak on it, so I won't. But what I will say is, the beef that I referenced before, at the end of it, Kendrick was actually able to unite the Bloods and the Crips. And that is monumental. The only person to do that before Kendrick was Nipsey Hussle. Rest in peace. He passed away, but he was the only rapper to try to unite them. So the showing of blue and red on stage together, to me, I don't know if it was intentional because those are American colors, but I think that's what it was also symbolizing. It was a shout out to the pop out concert that Kendrick Lamar did, which, like, oh my gosh, there's so many things for people to watch. You have homework, ladies and gentlemen. If you have not kept up to date, you have homework. But I promise you'll at least be entertained, and you'll for sure find the meaning. Now, interestingly enough, Kendrick and Nipsey do have a song together. It's called Dedication. So again, more homework. And if you don't know Nipsey Hussle, please go and listen to him. You can listen to his music and learn things. You can listen to his interviews and learn things. He was a very wise man. It was a very tragic loss. So two more things I'll talk about One of them is I want a lot of people. So some of the complaints that people had was about the costumes. Now, as somebody who's from India and watches Bollywood movies, meaning like there's the item song. There's like, but they're very conservatively dressed. Like
Mm-hmm.
India's generally speaking, a very respectable like population, including in your attire, and it's a very warm place. So what I'm trying to get at is, what was your impression of the costumes in the Kendrick Lamar performance?
I liked it because it was like it represented the culture, and it was a hoodie, and it was like a whole colors, like it was color coordinated and
Yeah.
all that. So for me, I
Did you
think it
think they
was.
were showing too much skin?
I think they were more covered. I think
Thank you.
only thing I could see was their hands, their face, and their
Yeah.
not their feet, their shoes. I
And
think.
even SZA. So
No, Caesar was actually it was a surprise for me because she was very tight. I understand,
yes, yeah.
but she was wearing full clothes. I
Full
think.
clothes. Thank you. Exactly. So some people commented on the
So I
dancing
didn't.
being
If you would not
provocative
have
or
told me, I would not even thought about it.
this. I'm very happy that you said that, and I didn't really
Even
prep
Samuel L.
Dr.Art
Jackson
for this
was wearing
episode.
full clothes.
That's true. Even Sam Jackson was. Even Kendrick. Kendrick was sweating so much by the end. The poor
Yeah,
guy
I like his jacket
running.
by the way,
Oh, beautiful! I loved
and
his
shoes.
jacket. I loved the A minor chain, or sorry, the lowercase a chain. I loved
And I was
the belt.
the first song which like caught my attention because I'm not used to listening to
Yeah,
his songs.
yeah.
But then it was turn the TV off, turn the
Turn his
TV off.
TV off.
Why
Turn.
he's asking me to turn it on?
So just a random story about one time, right at because that's at the end of the performance where he says, "Turn his TV off." Turn this TV off. So accidentally one time Shiv and I were watching it and he did turn the TV off and I said, "Oh wow, he's got power. Kendrick has turned
and
our TV
and
off."
this thing has happened with me and she also recently. Like I asked him that can you pass me the TV remote, and
Yeah.
then the next song which came was the turn the
Turn this
TV
TV
off.
off and it turned off.
Like what?
Oh my gosh. So sorry. So the two things I was going to talk about, the costumes was the lead in to SZA's performance. What I loved about the performance is, first of all, she's so talented. Like she is a beautiful singer. But I usually when you see male and female, especially in like a American like pop culture, it can get a little bit like too close for comfort, in my opinion. I don't know. Like I know I have specific taste when it comes to media, but what I loved about their performance was they had such good chemistry and they were like basically keeping COVID social distancing. Like that's how far apart they looked on stage. And they were still in sync with each other. They had chemistry, but they had respect for each other. That's what
And they gave, I think, I didn't know that they were different. I thought they were part
mhm.
of the group because I was
Yeah.
not aware. So they were
Yes.
giving they were giving each other the time and the space
This.
to, perform.
Yes, absolutely. And it's almost reminiscent of like SRK and Kajol, the way that they conduct themselves. Like Shiv and I talk about this, and we've talked about this before. Like SRK and Kajol are like, okay, I might be causing some controversy here, but in my opinion, like they were like the original, like perfect pairing for SRK, like a romantic lead. Like they are just because she's so adorable and she's such a good
They
performer.
complement each other.
Then they're both so innocent and wholesome, and when you see SRK and Gory Khan together in real life, it's like it was like the film version of that to
Hmm.
watch him and Kajol on screen. Plus Kajol is married to one of my favorite actors, Ajay Devgan. I just had to say his name. So when you see Kendrick and SZA, it reminds me of that. Like they're both just wholesome, like
Performers.
performers. Yeah, and what a beautiful thing for like a younger generation to have them two as role models. Beautiful. So SZA's part in the performance was like fast and furious. She comes in for two songs, but her songs were difficult and she had to move from one stage to the other and then just like meld herself in, and both of her parts she belted, which is very difficult to do live. And when you listen to the original track, like she performed Luther and she performed All the Stars. And All the Stars is a belty hook, but Luther is not. I think part of it maybe, but she changed it for the performance and made it more engaging as a live performance than even on the recorded track. It's very good recorded too, but it wouldn't have worked live. So that was really awesome. Serena Williams also does the crip walk. So Serena Williams is a famous tennis player. And part of the story, you're going to have to go look up the beef to understand why Serena Williams is on stage. But the part of the story I will tell is that in 2012 or 2013, she won a tennis championship and she did a crip walk. So a crip walk is a dance. It is sort of like reminiscent of the Crips. She wins. Now the crip walk is something that people just do. You don't have to be a Crip to do it. So she did the crip walk after she won the tennis match, and she got a lot of complaints about it. By the way, Crips are blue. So she does the crip walk, and at her tennis match, she gets flack for it. And then years later, Kendrick Lamar asks her to come and do the crip walk at his halftime performance. So first of all, she never would have gotten to perform or be seen at like a American football event, but she's seen doing that. Now, if you want to know why else specifically she was chosen, you're gonna have to look that one up. I'm not gonna tell you. So I wanted to talk about like as a woman watching this performance and seeing him and the way he propped women up. I was very much giving him big applause because he let the women do their thing. And even though Serena Williams' moment just comes and goes, like it's a flash, she just like does the crip walk for a little bit, it stays in your mind. Whenever we watch the performance, I'm like, oh yeah, it was really short that she was on camera for, but it's a meal. Like you're like cheering her on. I can't do the crip walk. I'm not a good dancer, but if I could, I'd be doing it like with her every time. There was one more thing I wanted to talk about. Okay, so the other thing is, so remember when I was talking about Eminem and I was talking about respect and I said Kendrick Lamar did it, but he did it in a different way. Everything he says, like he is the culture. He's also representative of the West Side and West Coast in hip hop. If you look it up and you look up like the sort of tension, hip hop very much is like it's popular in New York, it's popular in Detroit, it's popular in like northern states, but the South, the West Coast, they kind of get what would you say, like the short end of the stick. Like there's a lot of talent, like J. Cole, Outkast, Bun B, UGK is his group. There's a ton. I could Too Short, E40. I could talk about them long time, but they don't always get the respect. Tupac is West Coast as well. But so Kendrick Lamar and his revival breathes more life back into the West Coast sound. People are listening to it. And in a lot of those songs, there's a DJ called DJ Mustard who actually produced those songs. So DJ Mustard is how he, in my opinion, paid the most homage, like directly to the history of hip hop.
So he was the person when he shouted mustard, and he appears and starts dancing.
Yes. So
I was like, where is this guy?
So that is an awesome part.
But he was very cool.
Yeah, and if that's one of my favorite parts of the show too, because like what I love about hip hop, about so many things, as you can tell, I didn't grow up listening to hip hop, but Shiv absolutely like opened my eyes to this genre. I always liked it and respected it because I am a fan of poetry. I studied poetry in university, but it was really Shivam who showed me like the bulk of what I know about hip hop now. So one of the things that I like is this. There's a real sense of play. When you said that like hip hop is respectable, it's respectable for many reasons. A big thing in hip hop is they write their own lyrics.
That's what it was in going on because I didn't know that they write their own lyrics.
Yeah, and
I thought that they just perform.
No, and so that's part of the code of honor. If you're gonna call yourself an MC, you have to write your own lyrics. But it's like standing on like being a man. Like those are your words. That's your message. You have to be real to yourself. So if you didn't grow up like in a hood and you weren't in a gang, you shouldn't rap about that. But what was your experience?
So basically, what I learned about from Shivam is like you tell your life story.
Yes.
In your own words,
exactly,
and with your own music, with the music, I think.
And if you study the history of hip hop, which is I guess a different episode at this point, or you can a good introduction to the history of hip hop is the Netflix show that Shad, who is an amazing Canadian MC, is the host of. I'll put it in the description because I think it's literally just called The History of Hip Hop. But anyways, this idea of play, like it's counterculture hip hop when it erupts, and it really is about having something to say and getting your word off, getting your word out there. But in doing so, we end up like with battle rap at some point, and there's this jest. So what I like is this like sport, like this spirit of, like when boys will be boys, that kind of like you see little boys playing with each other and they're just having a ball. And when I see Kendrick and DJ Mustard in that performance, like I literally see the little kid version of them, even though I didn't know them as kids. For example, like my uncle said when he was a kid, him and his brother had like the tape recorder and the mic, and they used to sing Italian songs. And yeah, like when you sing, you know what I mean? When I don't know, when you were young, me and my friends used to pretend to be like the Spice Girls or whatever girl group, and like when we would have a ball, like it looks like that, but they're literally performing at the Super Bowl halftime show. This kind of spirit and energy you don't find a lot in pop culture. Certainly not anymore. But it was just one of my favorite moments, and Kendrick Lamar, getting more acclaim and then shining the light on artists and telling people to respect history is, again, same thing Eminem did in his own way. Like he's wearing it in his own way. But he gave DJ Mustard a second life, in my opinion. Not that he was like falling off or anything, but now the next generation will go back and listen to DJ Mustard songs, and that, like the Mustard on the beat, like that was his tag. So DJ Mustard songs, they would always say that, Mustard on the beat. I'm so glad, Guru, that you got to experience this. Obviously, I could talk a mile a minute for years about it, but I'll just ask you, and you get the final word, for the final question, which is, when you finish the performance, like, is there one thing, or what was the biggest thing about it that stuck with you? A feeling, a moment, a lyric, anything?
So it was a music and a group effort. I could see everyone contributing, even the smallest artist till like or being Kendrick Lamar himself.
Mhm.
Like everybody has a part to play.
Yes.
It was like a whole, like a visual treat kind of a thing.
This. Yeah. Yeah. I love that. And I love this idea of team, of working as one.
Because a single person cannot do this big performance. Definitely, his music was
Yeah.
like everything, his words, and he himself was the center of that performance.
Yeah.
But even if the small, if you remember, they had in so much sync
Yeah.
that even it were so much complicated things were looking so much in sync and simple.
Yes.
But when you go and do that, that is a very big thing. So I think all of them who had taken part in that are equally important. That it was a
Yeah.
visual treat.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Wow. So, with knowing very little about Kendrick Lamar's like image, his message, and his music, I think you actually touched on something that's at the heart of who he is and what he shows, which is community. Always his community. He comes from Compton. He puts Compton in his music videos. He reps Compton always. And I love that you got that sense, because you have to move as one.
Yeah.
To pull that performance off, and they did flawlessly.
If you don't think as a like artist or human or different or something, it was like a wave. They were moving in a
Yeah.
motion,
Yes.
and the music was on point. The
Yes.
beats were on point. Like it was like as if they
Yeah.
knew that this is going to come now, and I'm going to do this.
This.
It was like
Yes.
that.
Yes.
So when I saw that, I was like hooked, and I was like, next year onwards, I'm also going to watch Super Bowl.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then we can do a follow-up episode, maybe,
And
to compare.
I can call you. Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah. Oh, now that I know, I'll send you messages and remind you. uh, Beautiful. Well, I mean, we've definitely talked everybody's ear off, mostly me, but that was intentional. Because I was happy to talk about this, and I hope you learned a lot, Guru.
Yeah, I was a newbie. I was just a sponge absorbing everything, whatever I can.
But you're very wise. Like, you picked up on a lot of stuff that I took me a couple times watching performances to pick up on. So a shout out for that. Now, folks, if you made it to this part, and we didn't mention your favorite Super Bowl, please, please, please put it in the comments so that we can go and look it up and watch it ourselves if we haven't seen it or other people can. And thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the West East Podcast. podcast. That's going to do it for us, but tune in next week for another episode.
Thank you, Amanda. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
So 1 for my city, 2 for my city. God knows what I wouldn't do for my city. 3 for my city, 4 for my city. No, I'm the one who'd go to war for my city. 5 for my city, 6 is my city. Holla at me if y'all vibe with my city. Come try on my city, don't you lie in my city. Symbol the truth, I'll fight for my city.
The West East podcast is part of the We Campaign, also known as Anti-East Indian Hate Campaign by Vairagya Entertainment. You can weigh in on the conversation in the meantime in our comments section or on our social media. You can also visit www.imshivam.net/w.e. Remember, Vasudev Kutumbakam. We are all one family. Until next time.